a faculty creative writing reading series here at Columbus College of Art and Design. While we usually feature poetry, prose, and screenplays, tonight is our annual All Comics edition of Red Wheelbarrow, a yearly showcase of student and faculty work in the medium of comics. I am Robert Loss, interim department head of the Writing and Literature Philosophy Department and co-curator of this semester's Red Wheelbarrow readings with Dr. Leslie Jenicky over there. We are in, tonight, uncharted waters without our beloved, I hope we are recording this, right? Because I want him to hear this. Without our beloved Dr. Josh Butts. Oh my God. The captain and curator of this ship, without having him at the helm. Once he returns from his sabbatical, where he is writing sestinas while sipping margaritas on the docks of tropical marinas, Josh will be CCAD's new Dean of Faculty. As you may know, Josh built the SS Red Wheelbarrow many, many years ago, pushed her off from shore, and has steered us through seas both stormy and tranquil. Under our skipper, we've had glorious adventures, we've heard thunderous verse and poignant tall tales, and we've been reminded time and again of how fortunate we are to be in each other's thriving creative company. We are enormously grateful for Josh's enthusiastic leadership. He will continue to be a member of this crew, and in fact, I trust, in fact, that you have not seen the last of Captain Josh at this helm/podium. But tonight, uncharted waters, and so we will find our way by reading the constellations known as comics. Those star maps made of lines and words, verbs in ink, figures in stasis, and panels in sequence. Maps of story, maps of memory, maps of imagination. In these constellations tonight, you'll find experimentation, make-believe, beliefs questioned, dread, humor, and even love. But most of all tonight, you'll witness, I think, the artistic venture, the creator's gamble. Those two words dear to any artist, what if? The astronomer Galileo, in the first scene of Bertolt Brecht's play Life of Galileo, says of the changing world to his student, "I like to think it began with the ships. As far as men could remember, they had always hugged the coast, then suddenly they abandoned the coastline and ventured out across the seas. On our old continent, a rumor sprang up. There might be new ones." Here in this theater of sorts, we'll witness maps in the making as their authors search for new land. Because these are comics, we'll look as we read and read as we look. And tonight, we're fortunate to be able to listen as the constellations speak. Our student readers tonight are Alan Alanis, Han Donovan, Victoria Douglas, Javier Lopez, and Jasper Sirsha. And they will be followed by CCAD faculty member and ACAD fellow, Craig Campbell. We have our student readers, as you know, it's a tradition here, we have our student readers introduce one another, so please welcome Jasper Sirsha, who will introduce Alan Alanis. Come on up, yeah, come on up. Yeah, and introducers, you come up to the podium.
Hi, I'm Jasper. Alan Alanis is a senior at CCAD. He grew up in a Mexico torn apart by dry. The antidote to nihilism is to confront nothingness, in example, potential, with consciousness, extracting order out of that void of potential and facing the potential within truth so that the order that you produce is good. See, pretentious. Honestly, he just wants to create conditions so that the people around him can move with confidence and live deliberately.
Hello. Is it hello?
Yes.
Is this okay? Yep, like this?
It's good.
Thank you. Yeah, so I am Alan, and I'm gonna read some diary comics. They seem a little, like they lack any sort of cohesion. That's fine. Okay. Anyways, so this one's called Birthday. Waiting for my turn at a spectrum, I remember something you said to me. You hold everyone to an impossible standard, including yourself. It's super helpful for the development of your career and your art, but super toxic for your personal life and internalized sense of self-worth, girl. Actually, that's all. I took that from a TV show. No one said that to me. Okay, this is 2. Thesis nightmare. Yeah. Okay, thank you. After a tough panic attack and in a desperate attempt to obtain some compassion, I emailed my dad. Dear Dad, I don't completely understand the driving force behind what I've been working on. I've been obsessed with the idea of revelation and the apocalypse, often dreaming extremely violent dreams centered around the theme of destruction. And I found out that my concern with death on a mass scale was deeply connected to my personal life. Carl Jung once said that all personal problems are relevant to society, and that any sufficiently profound solution to a personal problem, if communicated efficiently, may reduce the likelihood of that problem existing in anyone else's future. So I think I must confront what terrifies me, what turns my dreams against me, knowing that once started, an attempt would destroy at least my self-respect, at most my sanity. This is called discernment. When life throws at you the most complicated challenges, always remember that the most important principle is not love or peace or power or justice. It's discernment. Just discernment. Andres. My best friend's dad went blind because he couldn't afford his medicine. He never asked me for any money. That's it. Meditation. Hello. Get comfortable on a chair or on the floor. Existence is a broad field with all your emotions, feelings, sensations, and breaths. That's the word, breaths. This endless field is yours. You're this broad and spacious arena in which everything appears and disappears. Soft and soothing as the waves of your breath. As grounded and steady as a mountain. Meditation 2. You're not composed of your past experiences. With each breath, release everything that has been said to you. All the past conditions and patterns of behavior. Breathe. And if you focus, you can just release the mind and let it expand. Artist. I'm going too quickly through these, just tell me. A psychology professor once told me that artists live on the edge of an island in which we all dwell, compared to everyone else who just live in the middle. And our job is to articulate the unknown, to bring to public awareness elements of being that have not yet entered the collective consciousness. But most of the time, it feels like a cliff on space. And to explore that which is not known, you have to jump violently. The fall. The fall is violent. It's fucking horrifying. But violence is needed to tear apart who you were or who you thought you were. On the air, you realize that. Retroactively, the act of the fall in itself recreates what you fell from. But it looks different. It's new. And you're not you anymore. Anatomy class. Tyranny is the deliberate removal of nuance. That's it. Ritual. Bread and wine, holy water, the ceremony, the Eucharist, the cleanse, the embalming, the sacrifice. And I'm ready for Miklakintupi, that's a hard one, to comfort me. Mom, I had a dream about my mom last night. Someone grabbed and took her away. But it wasn't graceful. It was violent. And the culprit, I don't know, but he looked Russian. Like his name was Sergei. And Sergei ate my mom. Discernment too. It was on New Zealand on a faraway mountain on our sheep farm that I realized. Well, he called my name and we played with each other in the kitchen. Well, he taught our daughter how to swim. But you told me that I didn't listen, that the most important principle is not love or peace or power or justice, it's discernment. And that I could never have this because I was incapable of choosing this, only in my dreams. And that's it. That's all I have. Thank you. And now I'm going to introduce Han. Han Donovan is from Cincinnati, Ohio. But that's in the past. Han is in Columbus now and here to stay. They have been published in Spitball 4 and 5, as well as Bonfires Comics, Silk, and Metal Anthology. They have plans to publish many more comics in the future. They used to be NRA and a leader of the Comics Student Collective, but that again is in the past. They just got a little kitty named Omu, is that correct? Yeah. Yeah. Who is very cute and very small, and that is all that matters. Han, please.
I assure you, she's smaller than you can even imagine. So, I'm going to be reading excerpts from a mini comic I wrote and drew. I did both of those things for it. And it is autobiographical, continuing on with the theme here. And it used to be titled Crush Chronology, but as I was putting this together, I think Pieces of a Broken Heart is a better, more poetic name for it. So these are some excerpts from that. This is Ola. She was 10. I was also 10. She was my bestie, and we were inseparable. I never really acknowledged my crush on her. I was afraid to. I was afraid of what it would mean for us, but more importantly, what it meant about myself. Some nights, we would play a game during our sleepovers that we called, "What part of your body am I touching?" I'm not really sure when my crush faded away. I knew she liked me back at some point. We are still best friends, and have jokingly, half-jokingly, still never seen each other's nipples after 13 years, for fear it will turn us permanently gay for each other. She always teased me about not being able to draw hands. Hopefully I've improved. She says I have, and she's coming up this weekend. This is Ian. We were both 12. Emo, dream, crushed. He was from my elementary school. We never really talked, but I added him on Facebook and realized his emo transformation made perfect sense since he'd always loved Invader Zim. The only time I ever really saw him was walking my dog. I saw my also emo elementary school friend Sam on the same route and once said, blushing, "I saw Ian's emo now too," and squealed. Yo. Hey. We barely interacted. One day, he messaged me out of the blue with probably the weirdest string of messages I've ever received on Facebook. "Have you ever cut yourself?" "No, are you okay?" "It would be hot if you did. Also, I'm fingering my GF in her pussy right now. Gotta go."
Jesus.
I blocked him. Some more early sexting adventures with Kirk, age 12. He did karate with me and went to my school. He had some anger issues, which made him interesting to me. I read a lot of shoujo manga, so my perception of romance and relationships was shaky at best. But Kirk does not equal Kyo, And after the whole thong convo, we kind of stopped talking. Thong convo, you say? Well, we had a weird text relationship. Do you have a thong? I think my sister does. Lol, why? I want to see you in it. You should steal it and send me some pics. I have this picture. Does this work? Sexy. This is John, age 13, broken heart. He had a white patch of hair that I thought was so cool. He was a year older than me and popular. Although popular at my middle school didn't really mean much. My 8th grade had 24 kids. Fun fact, I made an edgy emo character based off him, which was the highest form of flattery. He was an assassin and hot. And I think he was an emo singer too at one point. Probably had like 3 different personalities, I don't know. His name was Yuki Watanabe. His friends dared him to ask me out because it was obvious that I liked him. I thought he liked me, so in art class I made him a clay heart. So on Valentine's Day at the lockers, after school with my bestie, there with me for backup, I gave it to him. He threw it away in front of my face, laughing. Ha 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 ha. Even though it hurt, part of me always knew it was a weird prank, so I got over it pretty quickly. Loved and lost with Caleb, age 13. I swore he liked me, but I think we were just good friends, and I got my signals mixed. On our 8th grade trip to DC, he let me borrow his jacket one chilly night at the Lincoln Memorial. I slept in it overnight, so I was sure he liked me too. So I told him at our 8th grade graduation party, and he said, "I can't imagine kissing you. It would be like kissing a boy. I'm not gay." Ouch. Okay. Nice. This was the first time that I flat out confessed my love to someone afterward. Afterward, he blocked me on Facebook and Skype, where we used to chat almost every night. Thank you. And now, I will be introducing Victoria Douglas. Victoria Douglas is a non-binary creator with an addiction to science fiction, dry humor, and old-school manga floppies. They've produced comics, animated shorts, and illustrative work under their creative label Blackbit, and they are excited to call Columbus their home. Give it up, Victoria.
Testing. Okay, so I'm not going to start with this comic. I'm going to hop ahead real fast. So that first comic that you saw is the first excerpt from my thesis comic from this semester, 22-page one-shot. But I want to pad the landing a little bit with a little black humor. This is the Face Takers. The Face Takers lived deep in the blackest heart of the forest. It was said they held unholy secrets and truths locked away behind a great and terrible cost. I cannot say we were not warned. But for a listless youth such as I, the allure of otherworldly answers proved to be unbearable. In my gravest error of curiosity, I sought them out. Of life's unknowable questions, I gained not one meager conclusion, bar one inescapable truth. that face takers do indeed take faces. That's the face takers. So then, like I said, this is my 22-page one-shot thesis comic and the first 4 pages of Cinnamon. Yoo-hoo! Guess who's home? Meow. Oh, there she is. Is my little girl being good? I've been gone shopping all day. I don't know what you are expecting. You already have something to eat. This is all people food, not for little kittens. But I think I know what you're smelling. And if you're a little less of a psychopath today, then I've got some catnip for you. Catnip. Cinnamon, you gotta chill out. I can hear your brain spinning. It's out of your reach. Nothing's ever out of reach. Ever. But this time might be biting off more than you can chew. Do you really want to cross her? When have I ever steered you wrong, Sushi? The people of Big Kitchen City need me. I already know nothing can stop you at this point. I'll see what I can dig up. Just don't be stupid, Cinnamon. Cinnamon! Beautiful splash image. That is what I have for you today. Okay. Javier Lopez. So, Javier Lopez comes from the not-so-small city of Omaha, Nebraska. He is a comics and narrative practices major who enjoys challenging himself, as well as approaching comics and his illustration projects from different angles to create something unique and new. He has the honor to be a part of Spitball 6 and to work alongside a long list of very skilled comic artists. Being a man of simple pleasures, he enjoys the occasional burger, lifting, comics with a buff cast, music that hypes him up, and hanging out with his friends. Give it up for Javier Lopez.
Thank you, Victoria. So we're going to take a look at my this bio comic that I've been working on. Where's the...
It's View.
View? Thank you.
Yeah, full screen.
I've worked these before. Okay. In the first grade, I lived in Omaha, Nebraska, and was bit by the anime bug. In the name of the moon, I'll punish you! Toonami had the best lineup then, and Sailor Moon was a show that I'd run home to watch after school. Up next, DBZ! I quickly found another anime I would run home after school for. But why? I don't know. By middle school, my attention felt like it was being pulled. At Walmart, bouncing on my brother's friend's trampoline when his older brother jumped with us. When I was with my best friend, hey, I'm going to take a nap. Why did I like being close to him? I liked how he smelled, how warm he felt. I don't know. When I graduated, Prop 8 was brought up to a vote in California. The proposition would specify that marriage is only valid between a man and a woman in California. I didn't understand why people would oppose others to having equal rights simply for being gay and wanting to marry. All men are created equal. That quote was beaten into me through elementary school to high school, like anyone else. That's the foundation of this country. When Prop 8 ended up passing, it rattled me, had me question what equality really meant in the US, had me wonder where I fit in when LGBT people could be made second classes and with a vote. I don't know. 3 years after moving from Omaha, I went through a dating crash course most cis straight people learn in high school. I dated Dan when I went to Broward College. He was caring and we shared a lot in common, but he wanted to change me. Eric was kind and intelligent, but I realized we were together because I didn't want to be single. It wasn't fair to him. Lance was complicated. Too complicated. They left me emotionally jerked around, none of which was because I was gay. 20 years and moving twice, I found a queer home I felt able to say, I know. Up next, Jasper Searche is from Tiffin, Ohio. Their work centers around relationships and intimacy, and even more specifically between LGBT plus individuals. They debuted tonight's comic at SPX last fall, and are currently focusing on their thesis comic, project comic, coming in early May. Keep your eyes open. It's good. Outside of comics, they like Dungeons and Dragons, embroidery, and their cat Maisie. Welcome to the stage, Jasper.
Hi. So, contrary to popular belief, I have worked a Mac before. Hi, I'm Jasper. I'm going to be reading a small personal comic that I was lucky enough to take to SPX, even though I wasn't in the Spitball class last year. Han Donovan asked if I had a comic, and I'm like, I can have a comic. So here is The Basement. It is kind of autobiographical in a way, a little bit. It's metaphorical. Yeah. The Basement, Jasper Searche. Some nights, on quiet nights, when I have some time, I go to the basement. It's a bit of a walk, but I don't mind. The exercise is good for me. I open the door at the bottom. Hey, kiddo. And there she is, dark-haired and sleeping soundly, as always. Our body was her body first, before she went to sleep. She just looked so little, so tired. I decided I would look after it. I tell her about our day, how our friends and family are doing, about school. She doesn't stir. I wonder if she hears me. I wonder if she'd like what I've done with her life, the changes I've made. I wonder if she dreams. If she does, I hope they're good dreams. She's a good kid. I have no one else to introduce, but...
I'll come up and Thank you. Can we give a round of applause to all of our student readers? Thank you, everyone, for reading. I really appreciate that. Next, Jeremy Stoll is going to come on up because he's super ready and he's always like ready to introduce Craig. Please welcome Dr. Jeremy Stoll. Yeah.
Confirmed this biography was okay with the author, so I have to pull up the right biography. Okay, here we go. Craig Marcel Campbell is an assistant professor of comics and narrative practice here at CCAD, where he teaches comics, narrative, and illustration. Having grown up in Evanston, Illinois, Campbell received his BA in fine art with a studio emphasis and a minor in sexuality studies at San Francisco State University, and his MFA in comics at California College of the Arts. C.M. Campbell, as is his pen name, is a multidisciplinary artist with contributions in anthologies, journals, and websites from San Francisco Sci-Fi to The Margins and Hyperallergic. He's also a researcher who uses feminist and cultural theory to examine pop culture storytelling. All of Campbell's work, teaching, comics, and otherwise, is infused with a kinetic energy and hyper-intertextual intimacy that makes you think and feel in ways that you might not have done before. So although he has lived in Atlanta, Georgia, Los Angeles, California, and Brooklyn, New York, Columbus is very lucky to call C.M. Campbell one of us. Let's give him a big welcome.
Made me sound so much cooler than I am. Well, hello everybody. As we approach the summer, about to hit the year anniversary of when I started this project that I'm about to present to you. I was talking to the Asian American Writers Workshop, and they wanted me to write a comic about incarceration. And I wanted to make something that was really accessible to children because everyone needs to learn about incarceration. And so I started with this one called Canary Robin and the Place Without Cages. And I would like to note my initial pitch, and this is the title that I prefer, was Canary Robin and the Crooked Wall. But editors, am I right? So, first off, an attempt to create a new conceptual terrain for imagining alternatives to imprisonment involves the ideological work of questioning why criminals have been constituted as a class, quote unquote, Angela Davis. One day, Robin was daydreaming of life outside of his cage. Then, Jim the Crow flew into the glass wall beyond the bars. Up until that point, Robin had never realized there was a wall there. In that moment, it dawned on Robin that although he could see outside his cage, he might never escape his prison. The human who put Robin in the cage was named Warden. As one might expect, Robin didn't sing his praises. You see, normally, Warden was an unhappy man. Today, Robin was confused by his good mood. Framed and ready to hang. Warden had assembled a wall of human faces, and he was overjoyed when he had added his final piece. Let's put you in your place, Mr. King. Warden invited one of his guards to admire the wall. Long ago, Robin realized Warden had hired several humans to guard his cage. Warden said that even the most important humans could end up in a cage. The humans who were on his wall were the most important. Some were inventors, some were singers like Robin, some were even pro-human humans who were put in human-sized cages for helping other humans. Humans are hard to understand. Warren talked about his wall of the important Americans. Robin figured out America must be the name of the place he was being held against his will. If a man's never been in prison, you can't be sure of what he'd ever risk if he would ever risk his freedom for his convictions. The thing that confused Robin the most about Warden was his belief that cages made humans better. He thought cages corrupted broken people. Robin remembered life beyond the cage. He remembered his family and the hope of morning songs. He asked himself, has this cage made me better? You seem pretty much the same, Rob. If anything, slightly worse. The other day, Warden was very sad. He told Robin, his son just went off to war. I went off to fight as a kid so my son wouldn't have to. I used to imagine if I fought hard enough, peace would just happen. One day, right, Robin? Warden could imagine a world without war. Yet, he thought a world without cages was impossible. Robin could see beyond the cage. That was his greatest joy. No matter what cage he was in, or how long he was in it, he could always see the world where cages didn't exist. He knew that place. The place without cages is real. And so, that was the end of that little short story I made to help educate kids about prisons. I thought it was very clear, if not, the metaphor was heavy. And so I ended up, I gave that to my editor, and my editor was like, let me present, there we go. My editor was like, oh, that was great. I know this comic artist in prison. I think you would totally get along with him. And so he introduced me to Adam Roberts. He's currently incarcerated in Fishkill prison. At the time, he was in Auburn prison. He's transferred since. And I was working with him. Currently, he's like doing some amazing things. Like I sent him some books. I sent him a bunch of Linda Berry because he's putting together a class for some other inmates, and so they're doing a bunch of cool stuff. And so we collaborated on a project. And so I was like, "What do you want to do?" And he sent me a bunch of stories. And he's like, "Which one do you like?" And I was like, "Well, you did have that one about Dungeons and Dragons that I really liked." And so I was like, I am going to, if you want me to, I could ink this and letter this and give this to my editor, and we could have this like comic get published. And he's like, yeah, let's do that. And so we did that. And so this is what we did. All right, so for the uninitiated. Dungeons and Dragons, a fantasy role-playing game set in an imaginary world based loosely on medieval myth. The use of varied sided dice, from 4-sided dice to 20-sided dice, determines the fate of each player. Their dungeon shook. Written and illustrated by Adam Roberts. Inked and lettered by C.M. Campbell. Use your fireball spell. It's not effective against orcs. Bring. Count time. Let's go. Lock in. Cody and Ray had been gaming all day. Auburn prison. 11, 10, 9. Bathroom break. As the lights go on, they resume their quest. Normally, they'd knock off till morning, but there was an urgency to this quest. Ray was getting released Monday, just 48 hours away. Ray had been dungeon mastering for years. For those unversed in Dungeons and Dragons, a DM is the guide, rule enforcer, and world creator. After 15 years in prison, the keeper of the book would be going out to the world, more unknown than the enchanted forest. I'll leave Cody some books, monster manuals, adventure guides, etc. But still, Cody will have to wait for another gamer to end up in his cell block to use them. Most denizens escape prison through TV, numb and pacified. They look down on Ray and Cody. Ain't got nothing better to do with their time, word. Sadly, many escape the chemical way. Specials, synthetic cannabinoids, bud heroin, crack, molly. But not Cody and Ray. What do I have to roll?
over 10 to defend. The characters they played were created many years ago. They had fought together, survived many quests, and grown strong. This was the last quest they would make together. We've got to rescue the Phoenix. There was some talk about continuing the gaming by phone, but it was just talk. Besides, as a parolee, Ray could be sent to prison for contacting a felon. They played in the small hours. And for a better part of the weekend, friends dropped by to wish Ray luck. Take care, bro. But Ray remained focused. He'll be all right. He'd be leaving his character with Cody. So he needed to complete his quest for the healing Phoenix. This would be his legacy. Cody promised to play Ray's character. It's Ray's last night in Auburn, and they are so close to their objective. All attempts to penetrate the wizard's lair were fruitless. But then, Ray sacrificed serious damage points braving the river of bees. In the dungeon, there it was, the Phoenix. The Phoenix restored Ray's health. They celebrated with commissary fare. Great quest. 11 cell, that time. It's been an honor. For me too. 15 years, huh? A lot has changed out there. One, getting released. There you go. The end. And the beginning. And just because I think this is so cool is that title. I didn't make up that title. That was me. But Adam made that up, and it was a reference to James Baldwin quote. The very time I thought I was lost, my dungeon shook and the chains fell off. And that's a photo of both of us. This is when I visited him in Fishkill. All right. So, in my next comic, I wanted to address the paradigm of black men and white women in America all in one strip. What? You know, how they're gunning for the #1 spot of the oppressed. Remember that feeling during Barack v. Hillary? Feels like punching down. Or is it punching in my weight class? I mean, like my identity weight class, not like I'm literally punching folks. This began long before 2008. This story began a long, long time ago. It was the time when Frederick Douglass was the blackest dude in all the land and Susan B. Anthony was the ladiest dude. So, people say we should be besties. We should totally do that. So they would hang out and talk about all of this super chill equal rights stuff. Women should totes vote. Slavery is like the worst. Both facts. I did my homework. Then in 1870, the 15th Amendment was ratified, making the black male vote legal. There was a sudden divide in equal rights. I just had to meet a couple of friends real quick. I'll be right back. The vote, no women. You obviously don't care about equality. Well, you obviously don't support the black vote. You're sexist, Fred. You're racist, B. I like to imagine that Frederick Douglass called her B. That's my imagination. Thus began the greatest and longest running passive-aggressive beef in social justice history. We don't talk about it, but we all know it's there. That's a lot. Why don't you write a book? This comic won't be easy, but I should know how to draw a metaphor. So, the plan is to address 200 years of racism and sexism? Yes. And you plan to critique the monolithic tale of black men and white women based on either hours of research or a hunch, all in a single image? No, that would be completely unreasonable. I'll do it in 3 or 4 images and minimal text. You want a visual metaphor? I'm thinking something along the lines of like a corkboard with pictures and flashcards with names and events connected by thread, push pins, and wire. It was Maria W. Stewart. It started with her. Now, How come no one can see that? This is Ella Baker all over again. What? Wait, what? What? Wait, you're saying I'm crazy? You think I'm crazy? Wait, am I crazy? It's not that you're crazy. You just seem like a crazy person when you overcomplicate things. Yes, black men and white women seem to compete and take up a lot of space in marginalized zeitgeists. But that's a lot to put in a sentence, let alone make a funny strip. Be concise. Be condescending. I just don't think he's developed enough to handle the more complicated shapes and identities. Be biased. This is a clear reflection of my sense of alienation from society and how the political climate has left me isolated and oppressed. That's why I use black people in my work. Be hyperbolic. I hate the sun. Thank you. He's all about himself. This is one that I'm gonna leave y'all with for a second so you can just observe. Or I feel like y'all got a taste of that. If you're always concerned about getting every side and capturing every detailed nuance, then you end up not saying anything at all. And also you're super boring then. So be edgy. If your approach to being edgy is based on asking that question, you're doing edgy wrong. Don't be weird. What if I come off like an asshole? It's a good first sign that you just might be an asshole. You should do stuff with cats. Cats? Rule number 1, in fact, the only rule, people love cats, always draw cats. They lighten the mood, I imagine. You got something to say? Do it through the tender kitty lips of a cat. Hand to God. Thanks. And so after going through this kind of like conundrum, I was putting together the story and I just want to do a strip. So I made a 4-page comic. But I committed and I said I would do the strip and this is the metaphor. So, me and Lion have been talking, and despite our popularity as Lion and House Cat, we have to come to face that all cats are equal and need to join as one. It comes down to this: humans are the problem. So, we are going to approach the human problem the best way we know how. Hello, my name is Bob. Just to clarify, are we going to start killing or eating humans? Dear God, no. We'll be liberated through political engagement and activism. I might eat people. And that's my metaphor. I feel like anybody who has done Intro to Comics has been forced to read my How to Draw a Black Guy comic. That wasn't my call, by the way. But I feel like I kind of shorted you on that, so I made this other comic, and I hope you enjoy this. And this is not an apology for the first one, because it's all right, but you know, it's acknowledging it. C.M. Campbell and I are close. He draws me. Looking back on some of the comics we've done, I feel like he's been really dodging a question we've all wanted answered. So, I want to get rid of the ink. I'm going to lose all the complex details and avoid the heady stuff. And in my most raw and naked form, I want to ask C.M. Campbell how to draw this black guy. I feel like I covered this. You didn't. What about how to draw a black guy? It was just a list of things people shouldn't do. Very little instruction. Is that how you give directions to your house? Yes, I primarily focus on the pitfalls and dangers of other houses. But, man, it was Will Eisner who taught me the importance of expression. Oh, great start. How to draw a charming guy. Give him the right moves. You have to be a man of action and drama. Tender, but firm. I was literally made to act. A character on a page is an actor. What does your body language say to the reader? Note the constant shuffling of the feet. This character is constantly tilting his head. What's that about? Wait, what are you talking about? He lacks any grounding and seems to be uncertain about everything, despite talking way too much. For God's sakes, stop shrugging. Whoa, I get it. I'm a flawed character, but, but why are you telling everyone this? I think that I show humility in my uncertainty. It's charming, and I don't think I talk too much. Okay, we'll move on. Symmetry is important in every basic face layout. This is the first step to creating a classically attractive visage. You should say stuff like that. This is the first step to creating a classically attractive visage. A good character is distinguishable. I recommend notable facial features and props, hence the hat. Keep in mind, too many objects on the face and the head can obstruct a character's ability to fully convey emotion. Hats, glasses, a beard, etc. can limit a character's range of expression. It also seems like they're hiding something, like their eyes. You want to see those. That helps. Dude! Worst case scenario, all you have are a pair of sad eyebrows to convey any emotion. I'm based on you, loosely. Before you make an initial sketch, draw a single line to bisect the figure to find the center of gravity. This will give your character a sense of weight and balance. When drawing thumbs of a character, you want to use simple shapes and lines and do your best to capture the figure. I get it. I'm the old punching bag. That's what I'm here for. Old Punchline McGee. You want a clear understanding of human anatomy, but I wouldn't worry too much about applying that information. You want to know enough to retain and nurture a firm doubt in your ability to capture a human likeness. You have some things you need to work out, and I'm the one that has to bear the grunt of the weight. I would love to be licensed by somebody who was emotionally stable writer. Now, understand that doubt will drive you and keep you drawing poorly rendered people and places until you figure out your own shorthands and design and ways to distract your reader's eyes away from your technical inadequacies. Your inability to draw like others whose work you truly respect will be designated as your style. For example, I might draw a character dressed in all black to avoid drawing the folds in their cartoonishly tight clothing. I don't mind though. I'm a cartoon. I was made to reflect the best and worst of you. That's my deal. And that's why you should never force style. It's just inadequacy combined with practice. What's the point of being a cartoon if you can't be cartoonish? Robert at? Oh, there we go. How am I looking on time? Do you have time for one more?
Sure.
All right. Let's pump it on out. All right. So, this is the one I'm before the most. I really like this one. I made this year. But I hope you enjoy it. This will be the last one for the evening. Hopefully, I didn't overwhelm you with all of the things. Hey buddy, what's wrong? I'm making a new comic and I'm facing that challenge all writers face. Writer's block. Nope, I'm probably gonna write about black stuff, but I don't know how black. I'm considering the possibility that I talk about being black too much. Then stop. Well, the world's been going at the black guy pretty hard as of late. I'm thinking the black guy needs to be ready to strike back. Plus, it's what I'm good at. I've been black for like ever. Like, what else can I do? I need more degrees. Pull yourself together. You're an artist, damn it. You should feel free to explore, act obligated even. That's true. I'll do that. But of course, I will have to project a narrative that's reflective of the hardships, triumphs, and broader journeys of the black community. Along with being honest and true to myself, without being condescending, and still acknowledge the generational gap that exists in every community, but especially strained in the communities of color due to, okay, that seems like a lot. And I've yet to address my own identity. I'm mad complex, yo. I must be held accountable for my privilege. Where is my time to make that art? Where is the time for that story? I've never even touched on my temporal privilege. Being black is always easier than it used to be. We have the internet. That shit's lit. Chill out. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Have you ever seen a black woman with tenure? I used to want to be Bukowski, honest and raw. I knew I had problems, but there's charm in one's flaws. A life of passion is beauty. All my scabs could be art. And I could still be respected, collegiate, and smart. I'm allowed one or the other, only now is that clear. Chuck could have never been a brother or black woman with tenure. That woman is poised and grounded and cool. She educates black students and takes white ones to school. She notes what's wrong with your comments, yet she never offends. She calls white men out, then they brag she's a friend. At exhibitions and lectures, working crowds through the years, no one matched the elegance of a black woman with tenure. To be a black man with tenure, I'm quite sure that'd be great. We've made it with flaws, though, just like white dudes, though at much lesser rates. Cleaver admitted awful crimes, those aforementioned wrongs, relying on what we had left, our redemption songs. The most righteous anger laced with firing wit, and what it means to see tenure means as much as seeing 26. We've earned the right to curse, snare, and fight in every place, but the prerequisite for a black woman with tenure is grace. My mother doesn't have tenure, she's too unrefined. And it's assumed Angela Davis speaks my sister's mind. Tyler Perry explained to me the black woman's madness, and all other stories conveyed to the nuance of a straight white man's sadness. And whether it's funny or not, SNL's on every week, yet we cut the Black Lady sketch show at the knees with critique. We filter black women's voices. They're like mines full of gold. And if your stories aren't perfect, then your stories aren't told. Your bodies are yours, but your lives are still sold, auctioned from pedestals and the books that you mold. Maybe your best isn't perfect. Maybe the best is just you. When you say that you're human, we explain you're confused. Your anger is graceful, you never show fear. Your skin is just thicker, unaged by the years. Neither sorry or ashamed, you never don't care. You demand we be better, and we pretend we don't hear. You'd forgive the unworthy while burned in the square. You're a savior of mercy, destroyed and revered. A heart-shaped smoke ring that looms in the air. On the day that you're gone, you're held in our prayers. Wherever we need you, wherever we need to be, you'll drag us all there. You made it yourself, with no expectations for fare. You shouldn't have to be these things, and one day we'll get there. But until then, I'll try my best to be as strong and forgiving and demanding and graceful and even perfect as a black woman with tenure. This was inspired by the story of Claudette Colvin, the first woman arrested for protesting the, I'm losing it. The segregation laws in Mississippi, Alabama's bus system. There we go. That was it. And I don't know what to do from there. I can tell you more stories.
Well, Robin's supposed to come up and pull it all together.
All right.
I can't do it like Josh did. So I think I'll just say on that note, thank you so much. Let's give Craig another hand. And thank you all for coming. It's been a great night, and we'll see you again in April for the celebration of poetry, National Poetry Month, right,
Yeah.
Leslie?
Yeah,
NaPoMo.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot. Drive careful. Have a great night. I can't do it, Josh. Josh is like.